Former Chinese media figure Zhao Lanjian made an exclusive revelation on X on October 10th. He claimed that recent purges within the Chinese military led by the CCP top leader Xi Jinping are actually preparations for war. Zhao said there will be even more significant actions to follow. People normally don't want war, but dictators think differently. We must stay vigilant during these critical times. Every piece of information matters. Zhao Lanjian had previously exposed the scandal behind the chained woman incident in China. He later fled to the United States. According to Zhao, Xi Jinping's actions mainly involve four key aspects. First, downsizing and expanding the military at the same time. The Chinese army will see a significant cut in personnel. One group army will be dissolved in each theater command. Meanwhile, the Navy, rocket forces, and Air Force will expand. Specifically, the Army will reduce its size by 300,000, while the Navy will add 100,000 personnel. This isn't just a simple reshuffling, it involves reorganizing military departments and combat units. Second, restructuring the military. Local military regions, military sub-districts, and armed forces departments will be abolished. They will merge into the National Defense Mobilization Department, which will work under dual leadership of local authorities and the military. Military-affiliated institutions such as performing arts troops, research institutes, and hospitals will undergo accelerated restructuring and move under local management. Third, adjustments to military ranks and benefits. Job levels will be reduced, while rank levels will be increased. The senior colonel rank will be eliminated, bringing general ranks in line with those of the US and British forces. After the reform, army officers will receive pay raises for the first time, with monthly salaries ranging from 5,750 yuan for a sergeant to 34,270 yuan for senior generals. Fourth, strengthening the Marine Corps. Given the possibility of future conflicts in the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea, the Marine Corps will become a key force. The CCP plans to expand its Marine brigades, adding 100,000 personnel. Zhao also revealed that over the past year, many high-ranking military officers, executives of military-industrial enterprises, and key figures in defense and aerospace have been arrested or executed. He believes this is part of Xi Jinping's military purges, possibly due to resistances to some of Xi's military policies. In September last year, Zhao Lanjian exposed that several senior executives of military-industrial enterprises were taken away for investigation by the CCP's Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. These included Liu Shiquan, chairman of China North Industries Group, Yuan Jie, chairman of China Aerospace Science and Industry Corporation, Chen Guoying, general manager of China South Industries Group, and Tan Reisong, former chairman of China Aviation Industry Corporation. These individuals were eventually confirmed to have been removed from their positions. However, the accuracy and reliability of Zhao's latest claims still need further verification. If the second point in his revelations proves to be true, it could mean a new round of military reforms. The Rocket Force, which was involved in a corruption scandal in 2023, is one of the key branches formed during the 2015-2016 military reforms. Observers believe the mass arrest of Rocket Force leaders signals the failure of Xi Jinping's previous military reform efforts, which he personally oversaw. In April this year, the Strategic Support Force, which had been established for over 8 years, was disbanded. The Information Support Force, directly led by the Central Military Commission, was formed instead. This is seen as a sign of a new round of military reforms. China expert Yue Shan explained that during the last military reform, the General Staff Department's Mobilization Department was abolished and replaced by the Central Military Commission's National Defense Mobilization Department. This new department included local military regions as its subordinate units. If Zhao Lanjian's information is accurate, it suggests that provincial-level national defense mobilization departments will be set up, absorbing local military regions and possibly getting rid of People's Armed Forces departments. However, recently, state-owned enterprises nationwide have been reactivating armed forces departments. Besides managing conscription, these are necessary for maintaining stability. There will likely be replacement institutions, merely changing the form but not the substance. Military-affiliated institutions like performing arts troops were mostly cut in the last reform. Transferring military research and hospitals to local management seems unlikely, especially since military research involves the CCP's core secrets. Yue also noted that the claim about salary increases for army officers after the reforms is not entirely accurate. Since Xi Jinping came to power, he has continuously increased military spending. Significant salary raises for troops were made in 2014, 2018, and 2021. In early 2021, the pro-Beijing South China Morning Post reported that to boost cohesion within the CCP's military, Xi was expected to raise officers' salaries by 40% that year. The recent pay hikes particularly benefited troops stationed in border regions such as Tibet, Xinjiang, and the East and South China Seas, as well as promising young officers. However, reports showed dissatisfaction within the CCP military following the pay raises. There were concerns over the lack of transparency in the military system. Calls were made for a comprehensive legal framework similar to a, quote, veteran protection law, unquote. A social media user summarized it this way, quote, the more unstable the regime, the more these people raise salaries. The higher the salaries, the more unstable the regime becomes, unquote. Even though the authenticity of the revelations might not be fully confirmed, the CCP military's suspicious war preparations and their potential impact on regional stability remain a matter of ongoing concern and vigilance for the international community. During the March 2024 National People's Congress, it was announced that this year's defense budget would increase by 7.2%. This continues a trend of more than 20 years of growth, while the economic growth forecast is only 5%. Since the end of the 3-year zero-COVID policy, China's economy has been sluggish. Due to the CCP's history of falsifying economic data, the official economic growth figures are also under scrutiny. Former U.S. Indo-Pacific Command Commander Admiral John Siak said in April that despite the economic downturn, the CCP's military spending could far exceed the reported 7.2% increase. The CCP's defense spending lacks transparency. International think tanks have suggested that China's hidden military expenditures could be 1.4 times the official figures. The U.S. Department of Defense has pointed out that China's actual military spending in 2021 may have been double the budgeted amount. According to Radio Free Asia, globally, China's defense budget for 2024 is 1.66 trillion yuan, about $231 billion US. It is second only to the US. This marks the third consecutive year the National People's Congress has approved over 7% growth in defense spending. This aligns with Xi Jinping's goal of building a world-class military by 2049. The Wall Street Journal reported that technology funding and other related expenditures for strengthening the military are not included in the official figures. Former Chinese Naval Lieutenant Commander Yao Cheng, now in the US, stated that the CCP's figures are unreliable. China's military spending is divided into two parts: regular defense expenditures and a separate budget mainly for weaponry development. The latter is not listed in the defense budget and is not approved by the National People's Congress. The real development of military equipment has a separate secret budget, Yao said. The sharp rise in the CCP's military budget suggests that Xi Jinping is betting heavily on the military. Observers estimate that much of the increased spending will go into salary raises and benefits for military personnel. However, the frequent pay raises in the military seem to clash with other messages from within. On June 20th, the PLA Daily reported that the General Office and the Central Military Commission had issued a document on, quote, building the military through thrift. It emphasized the need to embrace frugality, budget carefully, and improve efficiency in military operations and the use of defense resources. As China's economy continues to struggle, there have been widespread reports of pay cuts for civil servants since 2021. The authorities have repeatedly promoted the idea of living frugally, but it is rare to see the military adopt this message. At the end of 2023, insiders reported that local government subsidies to the military had either been reduced or eliminated. In June, Xi Jinping made a rare statement during a political work conference for the military in Yan'an. He said that the world situation, the national situation, the party situation, and the military situation are all undergoing complex and profound changes. He noted that China's military is facing a mix of political challenges. Commentator Zhong Yuan believes that during this conference, Xi Jinping also talked about implementing policies to safeguard the benefits of military personnel. He said this was meant to increase a sense of belonging and fulfillment among officers and soldiers. This shows that Xi is worried that issues over benefits might cause unrest in the military. Zhong pointed out that with the economy in decline and fiscal shortfalls, if wages and benefits can't be cut, then spending on equipment and training is likely to be reduced. Cost controls and the idea of thrifty military building may soon affect new equipment purchases and training. The CCP is also boosting its nuclear arsenal, which is expensive and may take funds away from conventional weapons. This could mean that upgrades to standard equipment have reached a turning point and the gap with the US might widen further. Recent signals from the Chinese military suggesting war preparations are concerning. In September, the rocket force launched an intercontinental missile into the Pacific for the first time. Later, on October 14th, the CCP held the Joint Sword 2024B military exercises encircling Taiwan. On October 17th, Xi Jinping inspected a rocket force brigade stationed in Anhui. 2 days later, state media reported that Xi called on the military to firmly obey the commands of the party and the Central Military Commission. He stressed the need to enhance training and war readiness. However, there are also mixed signals that suggest the CCP's ambitions for expansion might be somewhat held back. From October 15th to 16th, Xi Jinping visited Fujian. The state media did not report any military inspections during his trip. Instead, they highlighted Xi's call for integrated development across the Taiwan Strait. As tensions rise in the Taiwan Strait, China's economy continues to weaken. Despite Beijing's large-scale efforts to stabilize the market, stock markets remain volatile and global observers expect China's economy to keep declining. Director Shen Mingxi of the Institute for National Defense and Security Research in Taiwan said the CCP is using a dual strategy of peace and war. If military pressure doesn't work, they turn to political tactics. However, Xi Jinping's ultimate goal hasn't changed. Due to US pressure and the current political situation in Taiwan, the CCP is unlikely to use military force for now. Xi must address economic problems or he will face challenges from party seniors and rivals, pushing the Taiwan issue to a lower priority. There is a view that if the economy continues to struggle, the CCP might resort to military action to distract from its governance crisis. Professor Yao Yuanye from the University of St. Thomas said that if the CCP were to take military action against Taiwan, it would cut its economic ties with the rest of the world. For a wartime economy, the CCP would have to direct all state-owned and private enterprises to invest in war-related industries. If it comes to that, the CCP won't be able to sustain it, and the whole regime could collapse. It's a huge gamble. One different view comes from law professor Yuan Hongbing, who lives in Australia. In early October, he disclosed that, according to insiders, Xi Jinping is preparing for a war against Taiwan within the next 3 to 4 years. Reportedly, Xi has instructed local governments to ensure the economy does not worsen further over the next 3 to 4 years. This has been seen as a move to create favorable conditions for possible military action. On the other hand, Xi continues to purge the military over corruption issues, which is seen as a factor restraining any rush to war. Since 2023, dozens of senior military officials, including former Defense Minister Li Shangfu and Rocket Force Commander Li Yuchao, have been dismissed. Independent media figure Li Muyang pointed out that Xi Jinping's frequent purges of top military leaders may indicate his control over the military is unstable and there is significant dissent within the ranks. In 2019, Xi Jinping warned within the CCP about the ever-present danger of shaking the party's foundations, saying that small leaks could lead to major collapses. Independent military commentator Du Zheng believes that the rocket force equipment systems and military-industrial enterprises were seen as symbols of Xi Jinping's strong military campaign. Now, with the fall of senior military officials and leaders in military industries, this could be a sign of a major collapse. Under such conditions, the CCP's military threats to attack Taiwan could be a bluff, a paper tiger that appears strong but is weak within. Moreover, the system hasn't changed. Even with higher pay, corruption persists among officers. According to Zhao Lanjian's earlier reports, some of the key military figures investigated over the past year have been executed. but the authorities never made these actions public, and many who were removed from office have seemingly disappeared. Mr. Zhou, a former high-ranking official who came to the US at the end of 2022, once disclosed that a CCP Central Military Commission officer mentioned during a party lesson that many officials are sentenced to death each year, but this is never made public. Former PLA General Liu Yazhou, who is the son-in-law of former Chinese President Li Xiannian, was reported to have been detained in 2021. Earlier this year, there were reports that he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Various media, including Voice of America, cited sources confirming this. Analysts believe that Liu, who had influence in the military, may have been detained due to internal unrest within the CCP.